And a very good day, my friends. Welcome to this month's edition of The Shepherd's Voice with the host of the program, the Bishop of Trenton, David M. O'Connell. Welcome, Bishop.
Thank you, Jim. How you doing?
Very well. June,
Good.
first Friday.
Good. Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe.
Half the year almost.
Oh boy. Where did it go?
Who knows? Who knows?
Greetings to everybody. You know, I always like to remind our listeners that the Monitor is the publication of the diocese. It's both print publication on a monthly basis and on extraordinary occasions like coming up the Lives of Faith, celebrating our priests and religious and their anniversaries, and a number of our key messages. Also, it's a daily thing on the website so that you can get the daily updates on things. And I myself, I consult it oftentimes just to make sure I know what's going on and why. But the Monitor is, for me, it's an opportunity to get messages across. As you know, I write a lot, and I like to be able to, as a teacher, and that's my background for my whole priesthood, is to use the Monitor and use our media and social media as an opportunity to teach messages, share messages, and to teach aspects of our faith that I think are worth emphasizing. So check it out. Check the Monitor website, TrentonMonitor.com. I think that's the address.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and that'd be great.
It's probably one of the premier diocesan periodicals. I mean, some dioceses don't even have. It's all online.
Well, it's in reviewing their budgets, and dioceses have cut their print publications in order to say they're expensive.
Oh, sure.
I will tell you, it's very expensive.
I would imagine.
To do that. But we made a decision a number of years ago in the diocese to maintain this in kind of a magazine form rather than the newspaper form that we used to use.
Yeah.
And to me, I get a lot of positive reactions from it, and people enjoy the articles.
Yes.
There are articles. I'm not the only one that writes for it. I'm just one of the many authors that write, and they have get a chance to see pictures of what's going on in the diocese and who's who and what's what. So I think it's a good publication.
Well done.
Next week, Father's Day coming, June 21st.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. We wish all the fathers listening to our program, current fathers and fathers-to-be, happy Father's Day. Yeah. Also, June 21st is my mother's 100th birthday.
Oh, well, there you go.
She would have been 100 years if she was alive today.
Yeah.
Great part of my life. Coming up, as we, as a nation, celebrate our 250th anniversary, the bishops of the United States, we use the term USCCB, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. They made a decision a while ago that to celebrate the 250th anniversary, that they would consecrate the nation to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. And so that will take place during the annual summer meeting of the bishops. And the meeting is in Orlando, Florida. They alternate the summer meeting to do. Year ago it was in San Diego. They tried to move it around the country rather than always have everybody coming to the East Coast, to the Baltimore. And so on June 11th, the vigil of the Feast of the Sacred Heart, and the bishops who are gathered in Orlando will consecrate the nation to the Sacred Heart. And they've sent out prayers and resources on the bishop's website, usccb.org, for people to use. Prayers and novena to the Sacred Heart, which has already begun, and a lot of other the prayer of consecration that they will use, which I also have taken and printed and distributed on our website and to the priests of the diocese. So it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us to reflect on the Sacred Heart. I've written something about the Sacred Heart, and it's in the Monitor and on our website if you want to look it up. I won't read it to you now, but it explains devotion to the Sacred Heart.
We're going to broadcast that live, I believe, on Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Oh,
I
wonderful.
think but I thought the notes I got said it was a mass from the Basilica in Washington. Is it going to be simultaneous?
It may be,
Okay.
but I know the bishops will be in Orlando.
Okay, but it's 4 o'clock, and I know we're going to broadcast it live
Good.
through the network.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I'm not sure about
Mhm.
what the Basilica in
What is
Washington.
an actual consecration, Bishop? What is what does that mean? And to
Well, consecrate something is to make holy. Like, for example, the term was always used when a bishop was ordained, that it was his consecration. Well, he's already consecrated as a priest, and our country has been consecrated to our Blessed Mother, the patroness of the U.S., the Immaculate Conception. But it's just a declaration that once again our minds and hearts focus on the important things in life, lifting them up and asking for God's special blessing is help us to preserve what is being consecrated and to use that as a means of glorification of God. And
I know we had the building enthroned to the Sacred Heart when we first moved in, as do many homes. That
Yeah.
was a very rich tradition in our church and home enthronement, right?
yeah, it's a long-standing tradition in the church. You know, the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and what I've decided to do in the diocese. You know, we have 4 parishes that are named Sacred Heart, and so I thought one way I could celebrate this consecration and put it before people's minds was to visit the 4 parishes dedicated to the Sacred Heart, to give a homily on the theme of the Sacred Heart, kind of blend it with the readings of the Mass or the feast that's being celebrated. For example, I was in Mount Holly last Sunday on May 31st, which is also the feast of the Visitation of our Blessed Mother. It was also celebration of Trinity Sunday, the solemnity of the Holy Trinity, and then you had the Sacred Heart. So I certainly had a lot to work
A lot
with,
to cover, yeah.
a lot, and the readings. So
Yeah.
I tried to blend the two together. But I went to Sacred Heart in Mount Holly. Father John Zaher is the pastor there, and we had a wonderful Mass and celebration. Choirs sang. You know, there was a small choir there that did a beautiful job. So it's great. It's a great opportunity for me. This coming weekend, which is Corpus Christi,
Right.
Solemnity of the Body and Blood of the Lord, I'll be down in Bayhead and celebrating the 10:30 Mass at Sacred Heart Parish in Bayhead. And so I will, again, blending together the Corpus Christi with Sacred Heart, which is not a big stretch.
Right.
It's pretty clearly related, and then the readings of the day, and then to have some opportunity to meet with the parishioners afterwards in the parish center, the parish hall. You know, that's a very important thing to me, is to have the opportunity to meet with the people, the faithful, at these occasions, and because the occasion, it's not like confirmation or some other. I'm just there for the Mass and to be with the people, and I always try to be outside the church after the Mass and be able to greet everybody and have opportunity. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, can we get a picture?" You know, and things like that. But it's a good opportunity, and people, you would be surprised in that quick encounter will say to me things like, "Could you pray for my daughter? Pray for my son; he's not going to church anymore. Pray for my husband; he's sick." So it gives me an opportunity really to hear some of those things and to respond to them.
Yeah.
And I do pray for everybody. I make a promise to pray. I do it. I do it. I do it right away.
Yeah.
And I do it when I get home. I do it in the chapel. I do it in the course of the week. So that's a great thing. Then on June 14th, I'll be here in Trenton at Sacred Heart Church over in Trenton with Father Dennis Appledight, and that'll be a wonderful occasion. And he's moved his parish. I don't know whether it was a parish picnic, but parish summer celebration, and so we'll do it all in that day. And he had a very good idea, because this is commemorating the 25th anniversary, 250th anniversary, semi-quincentennial, as the word is. It's hard to get it out, but he's obtained small flags, and he's going to give out. We're going to bless the flags and give them out to the people
nice.
for the 4th of July or for the celebration. So that's a good idea. Bayhead, I had just mentioned, that's Father Lubick is the pastor there. I want to make sure I mention that. And then the fourth Sacred Heart Parish will be in Riverton with Father Chuck Schwartz is the pastor there, and so I'll go there and have an opportunity to celebrate a Mass. And that'll just be Mass in ordinary time, so it won't be another feast day. It'll be, I can focus pretty clearly on the Sacred Heart. So it's wonderful.
Good.
Wonderful thing.
Good.
And on the 21st, 21st is a lot of things going on.
Yes.
Father's Day, and for me, my memory of my mom. But also, I'll go down to West Long Branch to Our Lady of Hope Parish there to install their pastor, the new pastor. He's been there for a couple months, was there as administrator, and I promoted him to pastor, Father Mark Nilo. And so I'll have that celebration with the parish and with Father Mark's a wonderful priest. And there's a great school there, St. Jerome School, with a long history. And it's a school worth supporting. People really should think about sending their children there, Catholic parents and even non-Catholic parents, but they get a very, very fine Catholic education. You know, the number of times that I've visited the school, and I do visit our schools, when I walk into St. Jerome's, I feel like I'm walking into my old school.
Oh, okay.
It's that spirit, the Catholic spirit and Catholic traditions and all the Catholic values, very present there. And I'm looking forward to being down there. We have some retirements, Jim, in the diocese coming up, and one of them is the retirement of our chancellor and executive director of pastoral life and mission, Terry Ginther. Terry's been serving in various capacities in the diocese for 30 years. And so she's decided maybe it's time to spend some time with her family and do some other things. But she has been such a godsend to the diocese and in so many ways. I mean, when I walk into that chancery building, I know she's going to be of great service to me as I serve the diocese. And she has been a marvelous, marvelous person. We love her. We're going to miss her very, very much. On June 25th at the Co-Cathedral, we will have a Mass and reception in her honor to celebrate her time with us and to thank her for that time. The Mass will be, I think, 4 o'clock, followed by a reception afterwards in the parish center. So that's at the Co-Cathedral, so that'll be wonderful. We have Daniel O'Connell, who is the Associate Superintendent for Curriculum and Instructions in our Department of Catholic Schools, and he's retiring at the end of the month. He has been an incredible gift to the diocese and to his school, to our schools, to our principals. So organized, and of course, he was a teacher for us a long time, 30 years or more.
Sure.
He taught Spanish and Biblical Greek.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In high school?
At a girls' high school.
Oh, my goodness. Was that Nazareth?
Nazareth Academy.
Where my daughter went,
He has many, many friends among the alumni of the school. But it was amazing to me, and he would say he'd get 20, 25
really
kids in the elective for
ambitious children
Biblical Greek, and some of them went on to study Bible or to study theology.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but he's incredibly well organized based upon all of that experience.
Yeah.
So he'll be very, very much missed in the diocese. Terry Ginther will be, she'll be succeeded. I promoted Denise Contino. Denise is a parishioner up at St. Benedict's in Homedale, and she has been working for many years in the diocese as the director of catechesis. So she's well known to a lot of the directors of programs in parishes for catechesis and Christian initiation. And she's just such a wonderful Catholic woman, example of faith, bright as can be, and she's going to do a great job, I know, in succeeding Terry. Terry had 2 jobs. She was the chancellor, and she was also the executive director of Pastoral Life and Mission. So Denise is going to take the Pastoral Life and Mission component of her work, and she'll do a great job at that. I wish her well.
Good.
Yeah. So.
Changes.
What's that?
Changes.
Changes.
Changes come, right?
Changes.
Yeah.
Speaking of changes, we have our priest changes. It's funny. Last year, when I went to do the pastors' changes and priest changes, only one priest asked for a change,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted a sabbatical. And
Mm-hmm.
Father John Large, and who's come back from his sabbatical, finished his sabbatical, and he's
Mm-hmm.
going to be down at Spring Lake
Mm-hmm.
in St. Catherine, St. Margaret Parish as the parochial vicar there,
Mm-hmm.
working with Father Damien McElroy, who is the pastor there. And Father Large, wonderful, good priest, and I'm so happy to be able to assign him there. I'm taking from that parish Father Greg Abadia, who is well loved there, and I'm sending him to Medford, to St. Mary
Mm-hmm.
the Lake, which has a wonderful school and is a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, beautiful parish. And so he'll take over there as administrator. And Father Dan Swift, who has been the pastor of that parish, maybe 12 years, I think.
Mm.
I think
That
so.
long, really? I remember he was at St. Benedict's many years ago.
He was at St. Benedict's.
Yeah.
He was at St. Benedict's when I came.
Right.
And then I moved him from there to Medford
Mm-hmm.
to St. Mary's, and a wonderful pastor there.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's moving on to St. Leo's in Lincroft,
Mm-hmm.
and he will be the pastor there. And he's already started to get things together and start making some inroads with the staff there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a wonderful assignment for him. And then the other assignments, we have 3 priests retiring. Father Jim Conover, who I ask your prayers for him. He's battling cancer
Mm-hmm.
at this point, and he was the pastor of St. Rose of Lima in Freehold, and so he has passed the diocesan policy age for retirement.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a wonderful
Which is
75.
75. Okay.
This is pretty much the canonical
Mm-hmm.
age
Mm-hmm.
right across the board. But anyway, 75.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so he's going to move. He was the organist for the diocese for many, many
Oh, I didn't know
years.
that.
Yeah, he was very involved in the music. In fact, when I
Okay.
came,
Uh-huh.
he was working with the diocesan choir there.
Okay.
Great guy. And again, a place with a good school. I can't promote our Catholic schools
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Really, you really have to consider sending your kids, your grandkids to Catholic schools.
Mm.
Our Catholic schools are outstanding in the
Yeah.
diocese here. He'll be replaced by Father Joel Wilson, who currently is the pastor of Our Lady of Perpetual Help in Mapleshade,
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey. Father Wilson will come there. It's an interesting parish. It's predominantly Anglo, but there's a large Hispanic community there. And when you say Hispanic community, it's really you say Hispanic communities
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many different groupings and
Mm-hmm.
with different sets of cultures and all. Father is fluent in Spanish. I've heard him
Mm.
preach. He's marvelous. So he'll be a very good pastor there. They also have a little
Okay.
Vietnamese community there. Now, he doesn't speak Vietnamese,
Mm-hmm.
but we bring in a priest to celebrate Mass for the Vietnamese on
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a really interesting
Oh, yeah.
parish with a
Mm.
big school. I was there a couple of months ago to the school and had a wonderful, wonderful day there with
Mhm.
the school kids
Mhm.
and their families. To take Father Wilson's place will be Father Fernando Lopez Monsalve. Father has been in the military, working in the military and working on his academic educational pursuits. And so he's coming back from the military,
Mhm.
and he will be going there as pastor. He's been a pastor before. He was pastor up in Atlantic Islands. That's great. We have a retirement in St. Gabriel's in Marlborough. Father Gene Roberts, who probably is the longest serving pastor in the diocese. I think maybe 34 years. He's been a pastor there. And so he's past the canonical age and submitted his letter of retirement, and he'll be moving on to retirement. Taking his place will be Father Brian Butch.
Mhm.
Father Butch is a wonderful priest, and he's helped out at St. Gabriel, so the people know him. He won't be a stranger.
Mhm.
It's like welcoming an old friend back to
Mhm.
the parish, and he'll do a wonderful job there, serving. He will be leaving his parish in St. Anselm's in Wayside.
Mm.
And he's did a marvelous job there. He's only been there for a couple of years, but he did a marvelous job uh, in uh, in the parish there. Taking his place will be Father Carlo Callison.
Mm-hmm.
Father Carlo, some of you may recognize the name. He, for a number of years, he traveled with me and served as my MC
Mm-hmm.
before Father Jean, my current MC.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful young priest, just turned 40,
Mm.
from the Philippines, and he'll be going there. But he also is known to the parishioners there. That's a nice
Mm-hmm.
aspect of making these changes. When
Mm-hmm.
you send them to send the priest to a parish, if they've had some experience with the parish and they know the people have more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
People are always kind of suspect when there's a change.
Right. Right.
So he'll be going there, and then I already mentioned Father Swift will be going to St. Leo in Lincroft again. Big school, good school. I just had confirmation there. It was 140 kids,
Wow.
young people, I should say, and.
Now,
I
when
use words like kids and guys and all of that, but you all know what I
we
mean.
know, right? When a priest retires, I know at my parish many years ago there was a retired priest living there. He was retired, but he would. He would say mass, and he was like the little sexton there. Is this usually what most priests do when they
No,
retire? They go to the villa, or they just
they have options.
yeah.
I don't think it's really a great idea to
Mm-hmm.
stay at the parish where you
Well,
were.
no, they would move though to a different parish and reside there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they move. They have the option. We have what's called a senior priest
Mm-hmm.
status,
Mm-hmm.
and so that priest can go to another parish, not the parish he was in, but another parish, and he will help out there. But he'll have no administrative duties. His only job is the faithful,
Mm-hmm.
serving the
Right.
faithful, celebrating Mass, helping with the
Hearing
sacraments and all
confessions.
that,
Yeah.
hearing confessions and all of that. So they have that option, or they can. Some of them have their own homes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the priests whose parents maybe moved to the shore or move
Right.
here
Right.
and have passed away have left their homes to some of the priests, and the priests move into that place,
Mm-hmm.
and they help out in other parishes. They have the freedom to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
now who needs me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I'm sure these days probably is a
it's
big help,
very,
right?
very, they're a huge help. These priests there, and,
Yeah.
and also the priests who have retired from other dioceses who come to settle in the Diocese of Trenton. I think there are like 64 retired priests who are living in the Diocese of Trenton at the current time, and
Mm-hmm.
most of them help out in a parish. Not all
Yeah.
of them, but most of them do. Or some of them don't have houses. They get apartments, and they can afford to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the same thing. They'll help out in the parishes. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really what happens. But I don't like the priest to stay in the parish
Yeah,
where he
that's
was. You
tough.
got to give the
Right.
new priest, the new pastor, a chance to succeed, and he might want to do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Give a chance to move in a different
Right.
direction, and
Right. Right.
and to convince the parishioners that that's a good way to go. They're not always convinced
Mm.
when there are changes. I'm just trying to think if I have some other changes. I don't want to neglect anybody. Um, I can't think of it at the present time, but
Mm-hmm.
they're good changes.
Yeah.
I have an Episcopal Council,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a group of priests, and Terry Ginther, who was the chancellor in Pastoral Life and Mission, and they serve as the personnel board for the diocese.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a vicar. The bishop appoints a vicar
Mm-hmm.
in each of the counties.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an auxiliary bishop. I had the opportunity to have one if I wanted, but I said, let me see how things go. And 16 years later, I'm still without an
Mm-hmm.
auxiliary. But I have vicars, and the vicars help me in a very special way. They do confirmations.
Mm.
They represent me at gatherings when I can't attend. There's so many things I'm invited to and asked to attend, and I can't attend them all.
Mm-hmm.
Wish I could, but these priests, the four priests, help me. In Mercer County, it's Monsignor Dennis Appledight. In Burlington, it's Father Martin O'Reilly, who's at St. Mary's in Bordentown.
Mm-hmm.
And in
Is there one in each county? You said?
there's one in each
Yeah,
county. And Monmouth County, it's Monsignor Joseph Rosie, pastor
Mhm.
down in St. James in Red Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the chancellor of the diocese one time. He was very close to Bishop Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Served, I think, as his secretary at some point.
Yeah.
And then in Ocean County, it's Father Edward Blanchette, who's the pastor
Mhm.
down at Visitation. Wonderful priest. What a good
Mhm.
priest he is.
Mhm.
And so they're the vicars for the counties, and they have very, very special duties that are prescribed in canon law. I won't go through it right now, but
Mhm.
and they're very, very helpful to me. And then we have deans, we have deaneries. The diocese is diocese as a whole.
Mhm.
Then it's vicariates, the four counties. Then it's the deaneries, and there's about 10 of those
Mm.
groups that are uh, grouped together in cohorts
Mhm.
so that each part of the diocese has an opportunity. The deans have canonical canon law responsibilities as well. They
Mhm.
visit the other priests in their area. They sign off on the books, the
Mhm.
sacramental registries, and all of that.
Mhm.
It used to be the bishop did that, but there's no way with 97 parishes that that's all I would do, go around signing books.
Mm, yeah.
So they help me with that, and they gather the priests together with some regularity, some more than others,
Mhm.
and talk to the priests about what's going on, how they're
Mhm.
doing, what if they have any special needs, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's a very structured. The diocese is very structured. Of course, the diocese is really the people. It's the
Mhm.
faithful. It's the parishes,
Mhm.
and all, and the priests serve in leadership positions. Deacons, wonderful deacons that we have, and assist them in that.
Mhm.
So yeah, so changes come. Not everybody's happy with the changes, but
No,
then
no.
again, not everybody's happy with a lot of things. It
No.
just I try to exercise good judgment, and I
Yeah.
try to match up um, uh, the parish, because after 16 years, I've gotten to know the parishes
Right.
and the personalities of the
Right.
parish. What the
Right.
parish is like.
Is there
And
input from the pastor when you're making changes? Who
well, it's this Episcopal Council.
the account? Okay.
Okay, and that's what I started to say, and I went off on a tangent. See, that's the kind of teacher I was. When I was in the classroom, a kid would raise his hand, and they do it deliberately to get me off
Yeah.
track.
Right. The-
But the Episcopal Council
mhm.
is the vicars, and then other representatives of communities like the Hispanic communities, the Filipino communities,
Mhm.
people who have special, what I would say, cultural uh, aspects. So to make sure that nobody gets missed. That's
Mhm.
the point. And then there's two at-large members of the Episcopal Council, are just pastors that I just pick out
Mhm.
of a hat.
Mhm.
Guys who are uh, effective and guys who are very present. As you look at the priests of the diocese, and we have such a wonderful presbytery. Let me tell you, we're so blessed.
Mhm.
Uh, they there are many who participate all the time in everything the diocese
Mhm.
offers, and then there's some who never participate.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I'm always trying to reach out to those guys to make sure that they know they're not forgotten, that they're
Yeah.
part of the diocese, and make sure they get all the information. The email system is very helpful. And I told them that. I said, you want to know what's going on? Go to your email account.
Mhm.
I said, I'm not picking up the phone and calling 97 pastors.
Right. Right.
Look at the email. I try to share a lot of, and priests will say to me, they've never had so much information
Mhm.
from the bishop.
Mhm.
And I take pride in that. It's important to make sure everybody's informed.
Is there there used to be years ago a time limit, like a 6-year term per
Yeah, it
se.
was a canonical time.
So
Six
is
years
that
renewable. 6 years renewable.
renewable? Okay.
Okay. And we have pastors who've been pastors for 12 years who I renew.
Mhm.
Uh, I review every parish.
Yeah.
I take that responsibility very seriously. But if things are going well, there's no reason really to disrupt
Mhm.
the flow of things in a particular parish, unless there's a need,
Mhm.
like in the case of Father Brian Butch. He's doing a great job at St. Anselm's. I'm sure the people will miss him,
Mm.
uh, but there was a need, and there was a need that he was suited for.
Mhm.
And that's true of a lot of this consideration. There is a canonical term for curates or parochial vicars, the assistant pastors, as they used to be called. It's 3 years renewable.
Mhm.
For the pastor, it's 6 years renewable.
Mm.
But it's not a hard and fast rule. The same way with the retirement. Retirement is 75. That's what's in our diocesan policy, which
Mhm.
is canon law for the diocese, its policies. And then they're required to submit a letter to me offering their retirement, and then I make a decision whether to retire them or not.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's good to
Even
retire
if they
them.
don't want to retire, they still have to
You know,
submit a
it's
letter.
y- a lot of them
I
don't
mean,
want.
these days, 75 doesn't seem that old
Yeah, I
anymore.
know it doesn't seem to me at 71 it doesn't
I
seem that
know.
old.
That's what I'm saying.
Some don't want to retire, but
Yeah.
sometimes
But they're still required to write the letter.
they're right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know it's time to go,
Hmm. Yeah.
and that's a very natural
Right.
reaction. They're used to being in a place, and they want to stay.
Very comfortable. Yeah.
It's comfortable, and they're used to it, and so on and so forth. But sometimes the faithful need a change,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's some of the that's what you consider.
Right.
It's
Right.
not a hard and fast thing. We have the law, we have the policy, what it is,
Right.
and then you have the bishop to make the judgment,
Right.
and then I make the
Mm.
judgment. And sometimes the priest doesn't know that he needs a
Can you
break.
write a PS at the bottom? PS, I really don't want to leave.
No, they write. They say they don't want to leave.
They say it in the letter.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the
All
letter
right.
they'll be very direct,
Yeah.
or they'll call, or
Yeah.
they'll email, or text me, and
Yeah.
or I'll hear it.
Yeah.
I'll hear it on the fly.
Yeah,
Someone will say, "Oh, Father's really upset that he has to
Yeah.
retire," and he won't say it to me directly, but I'll
Mhm.
hear it indirectly.
Mhm.
And I talk to the priest all the time, so I mean, I'm not a stranger to them, nor vice versa. So we try to work things out and do it for the good of the church and for
Mhm.
the good of the
That's
faith.
still that's the process universally for the bishops, right? You were required at
Oh, yeah.
75 to write
Yep.
a letter to the Holy Father.
You write a letter at 75 to the Holy Father offering your retirement, and then it's the Holy Father's decision
Mhm.
to replace you,
Mhm.
uh, and who you will be replaced by.
Mhm.
Uh, you know, bishops are accountable only to the Holy Father.
Mhm.
Here in New Jersey, people think, oh, well, you're accountable to the metropolitan, and the metropolitan has a particular role to play, a service to play, but you're accountable directly to the Pope.
Mhm. He's your boss.
He's the boss.
Your earthly boss.
The earthly boss, yeah. And so, he doesn't know. How can you
Sure.
possibly know
Right.
all the
Right.
bishops in the world? There's so many here in our country. We have I think, let me think how many bishops, maybe over 400.
Mhm.
So you couldn't possibly know all these people. And
Right.
as I try to do with the parish, with the pastors, make some judgments based upon what I know. The Holy Father doesn't. He makes his decisions based upon what he hears from those who are close to the situation. So,
Mhm.
in answer to your question, there's a long way around it, but yes, you have to send a letter of retirement at
Mhm.
75.
Mhm.
Sometimes the Pope doesn't accept it. Sometimes he lets the priest, the bishop, stay on for a couple of years.
Mhm.
It seems like the custom has been of late, and when I say of late, going back to Pope Francis and maybe a little bit of Pope Benedict's tenure, that he allows the cardinal bishops, the cardinals who are head of diocese, to stay to their 80. That's not
Mhm.
a hard and fast rule, but it
Mhm.
seems to be the custom that he makes.
Mhm. Yet the Bishop of Rome isn't required to submit his retirement at
He submits it
75.
to God, and God makes the
I
choice.
guess. Yeah.
So that's that. We're having a consistory coming up. A consistory is a gathering of cardinals
Mhm.
from all over the world. The Pope convenes this consistory, and he's convened a consistory around June 26th or 27th
Mhm.
this coming summer. So all the cardinals of the world who can make it attend this consistory, and he has, he's been very good at and very faithful to his commitment to make sure he gets the cardinals more involved with
Mhm.
decision making. So they'll gather in Rome, those who can attend or are able to attend, and they'll discuss a whole bunch of things. I've heard recently what's on their agenda, and of course, war and peace right now in this time in the world is an important thing. The Holy Father wrote an encyclical,
Mhm.
which I'm sure will be discussed. I'll say some things about that in a little bit, and some other things. Everyone expected that this consistory would deal with the liturgy and the question of the traditional Latin
Mhm.
Mass, the extraordinary form, but it's not on the agenda.
Mhm.
So people were surprised by that the Holy Father didn't bring that up.
Well, that's status quo right now from the
Yeah,
way Francis
it's
left it.
yeah, it's status quo where it is. You know, Pope Francis has he's not given any indication that he's going to make any significant change, or as
Hmm.
some expect, you know,
Hmm.
the traditional Latin Mass was going to be ended. We have it in 5 parishes within the diocese, and it seems
And is
to.
the Mass celebrated in the church proper? I mean, there
Oh
was a
yeah,
time where it was
yeah.
not,
I know
right?
there was some uh, restrictions put on
Hmm.
the celebration, but those restrictions have been lifted a little bit or
Hmm.
modified a little
Hmm.
bit. Certainly in our diocese, we followed the restrictions,
Hmm.
and people were very good about that, following what the Holy Father and
Hmm.
Rome asked. But those restrictions have been lifted. In our case here in the Diocese of Trenton, where we currently have or offer the traditional Latin Mass, and I haven't expanded it beyond those who were offering it before the restrictions were
Hmm.
imposed. But I've been given from the Cardinal Prefect of the Dicastery for Worship, Divine Worship, and the Sacraments, 2-year extension
Hmm.
to continue the current status, and that's renewable.
Hmm.
So after 2 years, I'll write again and ask him. It's important. This is, it's not particularly my cup of tea, but it's important for some people who.
Well, that's what I always feel that way, Bishop. How are you being fed? The church says that,
That's it.
that you can celebrate both ways at this point, and the traditional Latin Mass gives you what you really need. God bless you,
Yeah,
And the
and
opposite is true. If Novus Ordo is feeding your soul, and that's the liturgy you prefer, God bless you.
that's the overwhelming majority
Right.
of Catholics.
And one is not better than the other. Jesus is in present in both masses.
Consecrated bread and wine, the body and blood of Christ,
Right.
the Word of God, the
Yeah.
Word of God explained in a homily. You have those important critical elements
Mm-hmm.
of our worship in the church, and they remain. Some people are they they talk it down,
Right.
and I don't like that.
Either way. Right.
People have their
Mm-hmm.
faith and they have their preferences, and
Mm-hmm.
as I say, it would not be my preference.
Right.
I enjoy the Novus Ordo, and I enjoy celebrating it, and I
Yeah.
try to do it reverently
Right.
and in a good way. Uh, so anyway, the answer to the question of the restrictions,
Mm-hmm.
they have
Right.
been modified, and adjustments and permissions have been given.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep in touch with.
Yeah.
I know the prefect, actually, the cardinal prefect.
Mm-hmm.
I know from a previous life,
Mm-hmm.
and he used to be the bishop of Leeds in England.
Oh.
And and that also makes it as it is with the Holy Father. The fact that I speak the
Speak
language.
English,
We
right?
can speak this language. We don't have to nuance it.
Right. Exactly.
But that's the big issue of the summer has been um, the Holy Father's first encyclical,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Magnifica Humanitas, Magnificent Humanity,
Mm-hmm.
and which he lays out in this encyclical in a beautiful way.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of his priorities and interests? Of course, AI, artificial intelligence, is the one that everybody's talking about. His
Mm-hmm.
comments on that, and he's urging people to be cautious in their use of artificial
Right.
intelligence.
Right.
And some people agree with him, some don't. Some people see artificial intelligence as the answer to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Some see it as problematic and
Right.
needing to be controlled. So the Holy Father puts it out there. He's been speaking about this with caution
Yeah.
since he became Pope. In some of his first talks, in early 2025, he spoke to students and he wanted to remind them, don't let algorithms tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
You make sure that you tell your story,
Right.
and be truthful and honest, and learn to humanize
Mm-hmm.
the digital. That's the phrase that he used in his talk. And then in a similar way, when he spoke to the National Youth Conference in Indiana later that same year, he again cautioned the young people, don't put all your eggs in that basket.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful. And I think that's important to say. certainly we've said it. I wrote, surprise, surprise, right? I wrote an article about AI, and it's usually, I wrote it actually before the encyclical.
Mm-hmm.
I think I published it in December.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Did the Holy Father read my article? Did you copy my
Are you
article?"
footnoted in his
I
in his
footnoted in the
yeah,
article, but the article says a lot of the same things. You can read it on the
yeah.
Monitor
Mm-hmm.
website. It's present there.
Mm.
But this encyclical, we're going to hear more and more about this, and more and more
Mm.
about the issue of artificial intelligence. A lot of probably a lot of our listeners don't. They don't need a lot of instruction on artificial because they don't use it.
Don't use
It's
it,
not.
don't know what it is, right?
Yeah, it's not.
I was totally unaware of it until about a year and a half ago. My son showed me Chat GPT, and I was kind of blown away by
Yeah,
that.
did you ever use it?
Yes,
Yeah. I use it on occasion.
yes.
Uh, but, I realize what it is, and I realize what I have to say and what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I will use it for things like, when you get a writer's block at
Yes.
times, and you say, "How do I want to say something on this?"
You're right.
And whatever GP, it's not human, it's a machine,
Right.
it's gathering algorithms.
Yeah, I know. It's scary.
It's scary, yeah, it's scary. But it might help you with.
But it's like a personal assistant if you use it that way and limit it, in a
Yeah,
certain
you
way.
have to,
certain
but you
sense.
always have to remember that you're in control.
That's right.
You're the human.
That's right.
And I heard a talk given by Father Robert Spitzer, who was a Jesuit,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the president of Gonzaga University out in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
During at the same time, I was president of Catholic U
Mm-hmm.
in Washington D.C. He was
Yeah.
in Washington State,
Right.
and he really goes on a tear about making sure people there's no soul, there's no conscience,
Mhm.
there's no emotion
Right.
in AI. It's just an algorithm that gathers information from publications and from other things all over the world, and it does a good job at presenting it, but there's no heart there.
Yeah.
There's no heart there, and we have to remember that. I heard something very interesting. I don't know that you ever heard it. Of young people making friends, quote unquote, with
Yes.
AI,
Yeah. Scary. Scary
and
stuff.
that's
there.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. And
Again-
even I guess it still happens, but when it first came out more so, students were using it instead of them
yeah.
using their own minds to
Yeah,
write papers.
and they're
and things.
using it now.
Yes.
And to do their homework or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes.
The Pope has told priests, be careful, don't leave it to AI to write your homilies, and
But Bishop, I'll tell you, I was curious about it, and I one time asked the machine, write a 10-minute homily on, and I mentioned a chapter and verse of the Gospel of the day, whatever it was, and it was very sound theologically.
in seconds you get the
Yes.
answer. That's the amazing thing about
Yes.
this. You
But there was nothing in it that would be, non-Catholic. It was
yeah.
very Catholic in its nature, and I was like, whoa, this thing is scary.
And but I have seen on some of these, I won't mention the particular name of the particular venue,
Mm-hmm.
mistakes.
Yeah.
I have seen them, and it
Yeah.
says there is a caution there.
Yeah.
Makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
For example, I was writing something, and it picked up my name,
Mm.
and then it gave a biography, and it was incorrect.
Right. There's another Bishop, David O'Connell, isn't there, out in L.A. somewhere?
Yeah, he died.
Oh,
Yeah, he was
died.
murdered.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and there is another Bishop O'Connell, Bishop Mark O'Connell.
Mm-hmm.
He was auxiliary in Boston. I forget
Mhm.
where he is right now.
Mhm.
But the bishop in L.A. was murdered. Terrible
I didn't know
situation a couple of years ago. But he was David O'Connell.
Right, exactly.
And when he was murdered, the emails and texts I got and the diocese got because they thought it was me,
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, this bishop was an auxiliary in Los
Yeah.
Angeles.
I guess the whole idea is to not, you mentioned, this thing doesn't have a soul, it's not a human being, to not become dependent upon it and use it, have it replace your own.
That's all your
own
having to
mind
replace your
and will.
brain.
Yeah.
And it's scary what the potential of this
Yes.
thing. But you always have to remember the church offers what no machine can offer.
Mm-hmm.
The AI can't give you the Eucharist, can't give you the sacrament of reconciliation. It can't give you the warmth of a community.
Mm.
It's just you and the computer, and that's not enough.
Yeah.
Can't give you the witness of saints, and that's important, and the transforming power of grace.
Yeah.
So we use it. We try to use it in a good way, but don't be so dependent on it that it replaces your brain, your heart, your soul, and you have to be careful. It's like anything else.
Right.
It can be used and it can be abused, and I think that's the message the Holy
Yeah.
Father is.
And the other issue to consider is that it's advancing very rapidly,
It is.
more and more every day, and into these data centers that they're building, and it's just
Oh
giving it
yeah,
more power and more information, and the advancement of it is needs to be watched and
yeah.
controlled.
Human dignity has to be upheld
Mm-hmm.
always,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing more human than the brain and the
Right.
heart,
Right.
and that has to be upheld. No machine can comprehend that.
Mm-hmm.
It can't figure out the worth of a soul.
Right.
That's one thing that the machines can't do. Justice and fairness have to guide the development of this process.
Mm-hmm.
And the Holy Father is speaking about regulating, the importance of regulating. It was interesting. The Holy Father, when the encyclical was released, it's the first time that the Pope actually was at the event for the release of the
Oh,
encyclical.
really? Okay.
First time.
I didn't know that.
He was there, and someone was also there, and I can't think of his name, but who's a big wig in the artificial intelligence world.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very clever way to release this document, to have this person who's not particularly religious
Mm-hmm.
to be there with the Pope and to support what the Pope was saying at
Right.
the time.
Right.
Privacy is a question.
Yeah.
Here.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be conscious of that. Autonomy is a situation, and accountability. You have some accountability for what you say
Mm-hmm.
and what you do. So this encyclical, it's only about 100 pages, but it's very well written. It's I don't know how to say it's on the style of someone. It's not.
I've not read it. In fact, Cheryl was asking this morning. She says, "Is it over theological? Is it what? How is it written? Is it written more for the layperson to really not feel that they're below the style?"
Yeah, I don't sense that. I think it's theological, that's
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's doctrinally sound.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting since I wrote my article a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting for this encyclical to come out to, kind of to match it up point by
Mm-hmm.
point to
Mm-hmm.
see if I had the similar thoughts as the Holy
Mm-hmm.
Father did, and
Mm-hmm.
and I did. But I waited for the encyclical to be released.
Mm-hmm.
So I read it like at 4 in the morning. I was lying in bed, and it finally popped up on
yeah.
on the Vatican website. So
Yeah.
I read it but I had an outline of what I wanted to say and just
Mhm.
describing it.
Mhm.
The day or two before, I received from the Holy See kind of notes, frequently asked questions, things that they anticipated people will wonder when the encyclical was released.
And the popes don't write a lot of encyclicals. So an encyclical itself. What is how would you define that for
The
people who don't know?
encyclical has long served the Church as a kind of a privileged means by which the successor of Peter, by the Holy Father, offers guidance to the Church and the world. They're usually addressed to bishops, with the hope that the bishops in turn will disseminate it to others. But the encyclicals are intended for the whole faithful,
Mhm.
not just for priests and bishops. And they try to illuminate moral, theological, social questions that require us to give some more thoughtful discernment. So the Holy Father, when he writes an encyclical, he puts it out there. Encyclicals are not typically infallible,
Mhm.
or ex cathedra is the
Mhm.
expression that sometimes is used from the chair. But encyclicals do carry significant weight, significant teaching authority, as expressions of the Pope, what we call his ordinary magisterium, his ordinary teaching responsibility. And encyclical does set the priorities of a particular pontificate.
Mhm.
So this is his first encyclical. When you look back at the long years of Pope John Paul II,
Yeah, he's got a few of them.
he wrote so many encyclicals.
Right.
So you really had a sense of what he was trying to teach and the
Mhm.
points he was trying to get across.
Mhm.
So this is the first one. It's a good one. In my estimation, I think it's a very good document,
Mhm.
and it's worth reading or worth considering. So the faithful, again, it's for them. I mentioned earlier that it's the feast of Corpus Christi this weekend, so it's a great opportunity for us to reflect upon and to pray in thanksgiving to God that he gave us his son, and that the son in turn gave us his body and blood
Mm-hmm.
to continue his presence. You know, we as human beings, we have hungers in our life, and not just for a sandwich,
Mm-hmm.
but we have hungers for the deep things.
Mm-hmm.
And the Holy Eucharist is given to us to help us to satisfy. You know, every time the Mass is celebrated, every Mass, it calls us into deeper unity with God, with the church, with the poor, with the elderly, with people who struggle, and with those who need our love. So it's a way of looking at the Eucharist. You know, in these days, like in recent years, I'm so happy to see a lot of emphasis put on adoration of the Blessed Sacrament,
Mm-hmm.
holy hours in
Mm-hmm.
parishes, and again, to celebrate, to pray, to be in the presence of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So Corpus Christi is a solemnity. It's of the highest rank of feasts in the church, and it lifts up for the people this idea that only Christ can enter the deepest part of the human heart,
Mm-hmm.
and we welcome him in.
Mm-hmm.
Our eyes see bread and wine, but our faith sees heaven touching earth
Mm-hmm.
in the Eucharist. So
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the celebration this weekend, and uh, whatever you can do to promote the Eucharist and to stay close to Christ in the Eucharist, you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Beautiful.
my thought.
Well, Bishop, again, we want to thank you for all you've done for us this year, and usually take the summer off, so we'll look forward to seeing you again in the fall. But any special plans for the summer?
Really, you
No.
know, I have a place. I have a residence in Point Pleasant, New
Mm-hmm.
Jersey,
Yeah.
right on the water there, and I have become my father. So I watch TV and I look at the boats and enjoy just being there. Enjoy different, and then
Mm-hmm.
some priests will come and visit, or others will come and visit,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll
Mm-hmm.
have opportunity to kind of catch up. But it's really I use this time. It's usually it's month of July
Mm-hmm.
as downtime.
Yeah.
Even though I have an office set up in the residence in Point Pleasant,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times I'll work on homilies for the coming year. You know, there are special occasions coming up in the fall,
Right.
so I'll work on homilies and I'll do
Right.
things like that. But I use the time to read. I use the time to pray. I have a chapel in my house for Mass, and the
Mm-hmm.
Blessed Sacrament is reserved there. And I like to cook, so it gives me the opportunity to do that. And you know, I have a priest who invited me to go fishing with him and his father on their boat.
Oh, yeah.
So I hope to take him up on that. You know, I didn't mention. You know, we have a synod that has been announced,
Mm-hmm.
and I talked to the priest at the Presbyteral Council. You know, the synod. We had a synod 2021 to 2024,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, the Holy Father at the time, Pope Francis, he made a big pitch about the importance of synodality.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when that first came, it was a word we were not used to. You know, I didn't know
Right.
what it was,
Right.
what it meant. And the Holy Father explained it. The Synod explained it. It's really just an opportunity for listening.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when this first came out, I said, well, listen, I listen to people all the time.
Yeah.
But we have fora for that, you
Yeah.
know, and pastoral councils, the
Mhm.
Presbyteral Council, the Episcopal Council. So in the diocese, and we have a Synod implementation team.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to start moving for that.
All right.
Summer's upon us. Get to church.
All right.
Don't ignore it. Make sure you get to church and use the time to use it as downtime for yourself. Slow down and kind of rediscover the
Refresh.
simple blessing that God puts in your life.
Amen. Thank you, Bishop. See you in the
Okay.
fall.
Okay. God bless everybody.